Well, hey guys, it is Monday. So, you know what that means. It's time for a little Motivation Monday. Today, we're going to check out this Wizard collection of Jim Lee's work. It's called the Millennium Edition. Pretty thick book. We won't take a look at all of it, but when I want some motivation, I can crack this open anytime. It's got tons of artwork, a lot of awesome stuff, and it's all Jim Lee. So, if you're a fan of Jim Lee, stick around. This is an awesome book. This was published in 2004, and I even have a note from my soon-to-be wife. We would get married a year later, but my wife got this for me on our 1 year and 9-month anniversary. Because when you're young and stuff, you keep track of all those dates. But there you go. So the date is 2004 in May, and lots and lots of awesome Jim Lee artwork. Collecting a true master of the comic books game. So, like I said, lots of stuff. You got a Jim Lee profile, a week in the life of Jim Lee, behind the scenes of Jim Lee's Superman, Hush, the director's commentary, Image, the true Hollywood story, Wildstorm A to Z, goes through all the characters from Wildstorm, Authority to Zealot. Then you got Wildstorm artists profiles, guys like J. Scott Campbell, Lee Bermeo, and all those guys, Ali Garza. Well, that would actually be the Wildstorm alumni, actually. But starting with page 68, it just gets really awesome. So most of this stuff is reading. Who wants to do all that? But it gives you Jim Lee's backstory, how he got into comics. I read in 1982, he enrolled in Princeton University. He was gonna go to be, study to be a doctor, and then things kind of changed. But 1982, that's the year I was born. And Princeton is not too far from where I was born. I was born in Trenton, New Jersey. But yeah, so you kind of get the backstory, how he broke into comics, sending in samples, attending conventions. And Archie Goodwin actually introduced him to Carl Potts in 1986. So, and then it kind of just goes on from there. So, you got some other stuff, quotes by other guys. Scott Dunbier. Week in the Life. Dun, dun, dun. What does it mean to be a comic book artist? What do you do? What do you do? But, so at that time, Hush is finished, and then he's just starting his work on Superman, and I think was it For Tomorrow? With Lee... No, not Lee. Brian Azzarello. There you go. So, another awesome book. And it's interesting, the style changed, and that could be Scott Williams kind of like started doing these chunky black lines. But I still really liked it. Hush and this run I really, really enjoyed. And just like the Batman run, there's times you see things and you're like, I don't love that, but still, it's classic Jim Lee, and I'm really glad he got to tackle both those characters, two titans of the comic books, just industry, the characters we love, and they're really good. So here you go, you got the Hush director's commentary, bum, 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 Joseph Loeb, Jim Lee going through, explaining stuff, pretty cool. So a lot of background stuff. Hey! Some Travis Charest. Boom, boom, boom. So this is all the characters from... even got some X-Men in there, huh? Yes, Wildstorm did work on X-Men. A little crossover. So you got bios of the creators, the Image guys, Will Spartaccio, Jim Valentino. Speaking of which, I actually want to do a best of the best. Who's the best? Who's the worst of the original Image artists, and just break down their artwork. Who's the best? Of course, it'd be my opinion, but I want to do that and just kind of take a look at their art and rank them from 1 to 7. All the characters, blum, blum, blum. Jim Lee at work. Other guys at work. Hey, Scott Williams, Will Spartaccio. Boo. Alex Sinclair, Trevor Scott, J. Scott Campbell, Lee Bermeo, L.A. Garza. Here we go. Unfinished business. So, there's a bunch of stuff that Jim Lee worked on that never saw the light of day, or he didn't finish never got published, but here's some cool things here. We got an unfinished cover to X-Men 260, and he kind of explains like this cover was maybe a little too edgy for its time. Not today, by today's standards, but back then, a little edgy. So they went with something different. Then Wolverine number 24, a cover that he never finished. But here is a whole 12-page story. I think it was supposed to be more, but he never finished it. But a very cool Punisher Nick Fury crossover called Rules of the Game that he, and this is Jim Lee inking himself. You could just tell. But it's really cool. It is pretty rad. So, and this was right before, I think he said before he started working on Uncanny X-Men. But this is super sweet. Kind of get some like Deathblow vibes in there from that. Dun, dun, dun. This is pretty. He's like, he holds up the dude's head. That's pretty edgy, I think, for that time. But yeah, man, it's even got all the lettering done. It's pretty cool. It's neat to see stuff that just, you know, could have been but wasn't. And then just what these guys are working on at the time. So this scene is really cool. Punisher shows up. It's like a dance club, right? And then it's kind of like a strobe light's going off. And all these panels are like flashing from dark to light. It's pretty rad. The just really cool storytelling. Fighting in the dark. Muzzle flashes. It's pretty cool. Man, the blood. Classic Jim Lee, Frank Castle right there. Taking on some robots for some practice. And then, so you guys may have seen this. So this was published. This image. But because I know I've seen this. But yeah. Why not? That's a classic Punisher right there. And this dude, just look at that, the reflection on there. Just so good. This reminds me of Commissioner Gordon in the Hush book. Actually, no, it was All-Star, Batman and Robin. He had the scene with Commissioner Gordon, and he's like out on a dock or something. Kind of had a hat on, but that just reminds me of that. Looks like he could be a Commissioner Gordon type dude. Page 13. I think this is, yeah, that's the last one. Great face right there. Awesome. So there you go. There it is. 13 pages of some Punisher that never saw the light of day. So then the rest of the book is awesome as well. So the back has, so starting from over here, let's see. it goes through like every cover that Jim Lee worked on. So here's the Jim Lee cover gallery. This is pretty awesome. So starting with Alpha Flight, 1987, and it just goes through all the stinking covers for all the books he worked on or did the covers for. So this again, I mean, you want some motivation, check out this dude's body of work. Punisher War Journal, love it. It's awesome, classic. Very cool. And then of course, bam, that's awesome. Some Ghost Rider, and I think it is in order. Yeah. So here's Ron Lim. Jim Lee's inking Ron Lim on this cover. I did a sketch cover for a guy, and he wanted me to do a recreation of this image, so that was kind of fun. But yeah, so we're in 1991, 1990. Okay, no, it's not in order. Come on, guys, just put it in order. So this is 1989, so going back to the Uncanny X-Men work he did. Why wouldn't you just put it in order? That would be so much easier. This is 1992. No, this is 1990, this is 1992. Like, come on. Is it alphabetical? No, it's not alphabetical either. Why not just do it in order? What the heck? The OCD in me is just like, come on, guys, what the heck? This stuff right here, the Uncanny X-Men work, just awesome. Great stuff. Probably some of my favorite. Then you get to, this was an awesome run as well. The Shi'ar Galaxy and all that good stuff. Then you get to X-Men #1. Boom! So anyway, all the covers are in the back of this book. Not in any kind of order, but all the covers are in here. Yeah. Awesome stuff. Okay, so here's a little bit of a private gallery. So some things that, you know, a lot of these have made it to the interwebs and you've probably seen them online, but, you know, some things maybe not. But a lot of cool stuff. Like this one has made it to a reprinted cover or something, I'm pretty sure. That's awesome. Checking out his rough, kind of sketchy stuff. It's always fun. Then you got some collaborations. So this is Lee Bermeo, Carlos de Anda, and Ali Garza. Jim Lee's doing Batman and Batgirl there. Dun, dun, dun. This one's cool. I like this one. Doing some birthday art. I think that was for Carl Potts. Yep, Carl. Cool stuff. So yeah, lots of awesome stuff to look at in this book. This is rad. Some Thundercats. Mumra, Lion-O. Powerpuff Girls. Here's some cool Spider-Man versus Doc Ock. It's pretty rad. This. So I remember this from, I had this book that I don't know where the heck I got it, but it was X-Men artwork. It was Jim Lee's work, and it was like this, and there was like another portion of it with like Gambit and those guys. But basically you would rub your pencil over the page, and then the image would appear. Pretty crazy for its time. But yeah, so I mean, you would literally just kind of rub your pencil, and then the picture would appear underneath. So this stuff would be black, like the background elements, and then you would start rubbing, and then all this would appear. And Jim Lee's image would appear before your eyes. It was pretty cool, pretty surreal as a kid. Yeah, so that's where I know this image from, but you don't really see it too often. That's pretty cool. X-Men versus Sentinels. Some Death Blow. Yup. Watercolor. Some more Death Blow. Grifter. I talk about Jim Lee being a very versatile artist. I mean, you know, a lot of times, I mean, with some of the other artists and creators, it's kind of always the same type of thing, right? But with Jim Lee, I feel like you get watercolor, you get this crazy, just like sketchy thing, you know, like there's just so many different things he does that they're all really good. Whether he's doing a silhouette or some crazy thing with the line work, or you know, he just incorporates these different ways into his art. A lot of other artists are just kind of one trick pony, but I feel like with Jim Lee, not the case. Just very artistic in a lot of ways. So here's some fun stuff right here. So here you can look back. So it was 1986 when Jim Lee got some work on, he did like a 7-page fill-in in 1986. So this would have been the same year. Now, this might have been like sample work that he was sending off to artists or editors, but late 1986 is when he first got in, right? So this is about that time, and you can kind of see like, it's not that great, right? 1989, some character designs. Psylocke. Wow, this was Psylocke in 1989. Some, that's crazy. That's a crazy mask right there. So yeah, so let's be glad we didn't get that. But all right, so 1980. All right, so this is Jim Lee drawing in 1980. Not great, but you can kind of see some some flecks of goodness there. Here's a Colossus and Wolverine, 1986. 1977. So it's not horrible. Don't know how old he was, but you imagine he's probably a kid, teenager. So it's not that bad. Some more stuff. Again, 1986. Cyclops, Angel, and Marvel Girl. Then we got Gambit Designs, 1989. Okay, zoom in there. Definitely like his current design better. Gladiator, 1983. So this is right after he started going to college. Pretty cool. We got a Hulk and Wolverine, 1987. Just doodling around. So, I mean, it's not horrible, but I mean, it's nowhere near where he's at now. But you know, I mean, that's an upshot on a face. It's not easy. So you know, he's finding himself. 1989. Definitely seen that image before. 1989. Here we go. Original cover design to X-Men #1, 1991. So here is a rough, probably, if I was going to guess, I'd say 2 pages wide. Maybe 3, because they're kind of 1, 2, 3 maybe. Hard to tell, but anyway, look at, it's quite different from the one we got, but, Magneto is kind of not facing us, he's facing them, and then you got everybody just kind of charging. Gambit big, Wolverine. So, pretty interesting, right? See this? Be like, wow, that's what could have been. There's Cyclops shooting his blast over here. So this is just a breakdown, but I mean, that's pretty rad. That is pretty cool. It's Jim Lee after McFarlane. That's cool. Original cover sketch to X-Men number 6, 1992. And if 6 is the one I'm thinking of, it's when him and Omega Red are just kind of like face to face, like fists up. That is an awesome cover. So 1986 Daredevil. Now that's pretty solid. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Captain America 2002. Thor 1986. Kind of a wonky leg there, but 1986. So this is cool. It's interesting to see like where he came from and where he's at now, and even his work on Alpha Flight. I mean, was pretty good. Nick Fury and the Shield. Hulk 1989. Using those big, thick, chunky lines. Pretty cool. Early Stormwatch designs. Kind of see what stayed and what didn't. So here you go. There's Battalion, and he's kind of got these lines on his face, which we never saw, but that kind of reminds me of the other dude from the Punisher, Nick Fury Punisher story he did. Stayed the same, kind of the same without the British thing on his face. Stayed the same. Nope, she changed. So, pretty cool. You got the Wildcats headshots from the cartoon. I think Jim Lee sent these over to the guys who'd be working on the cartoon, doing like the head turns and stuff, turnarounds, different angles. It's pretty cool. What else we got? First Pro Batman, 1993. It's cool. Batman Studies. Huntress design. And I think I remember reading in this book when they were first talking about Hush, and he was talking with Joseph Loeb. He was saying like he was going back and forth like, I think I want to do this in more of a Death Blow type style. And Joseph Loeb is just like, people want to see just your work, not you trying to do a Frank Miller or whatever. Just, Jim Lee doing Jim Lee. And so he was like, all right. And that was it. Just ended up giving us what we got in Batman Hush. Sweet Poison Ivy. $1986 and then 2003. The before and after. I love seeing his design work on characters and stuff. Just these little figures, cool designs. It's rad. That's pretty cool. Firestorm. Autumn. Some more character designs. Very cool. All right. Karate Kid. That's cool. Well, there you go. Then we got a Jim Lee checklist for all the books he'd done up until this point. So there you have it, folks. With all the covers, with all the cool stuff, I mean, there's a lot of motivation in this book. Whoa! Indeed. Homage Studios swimsuit special #1. And he's just like, ooh la la. Alright, so there you go, folks. The Jim Lee Wizard Millennium Edition. There you go. Hey, Jim Lee drawn Ninja Turtles. I gotta say though, Jim Lee's Ninja Turtles are kind of funky looking. But I love everything else, but his turtles are kind of funky. Alright. There you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed this Motivation Monday. Hope you're motivated, and hope you have a great week. Till next time, peace out, and if I don't see you till Christmas, Merry Christmas. Peace.